all of time, as we know it, is actually a flat circle.
When Anakin was born somewhere else, like the opposing force.
An equal and opposite.
Yeah, but like a virgin birth.
So there's every chance that they have cloned.
Welcome back to New Rockstars. I'm Filup Molina. This is Rogue Theory. Today we are talking about the big reveal at the end of the first episode of The Mandalorian. It's okay if you pause right now. You can get a free week of Disney Plus. That's how I watched it just now. And go watch The Mandalorian really quick. You don't even have to pay for it. And then it's only like $7. Come back and then you'll see there was this big thing at the end of the episode we're going to get into. I just don't want to spoil it just yet. But with me to eventually spoil it and also elaborate on what the heck's going on with that thing is, of course, Erik Voss.
Hi.
Maude Garrett,
hey.
join us back, and then also rapper slash podcaster Tablo.
That's the hybrid name.
A rock
Nice.
pastor.
Rapper.
No, it's not often I say rapper slash podcaster.
It's a very common job now. It's like it's a new thing.
I'm on so many podcasts and none are remotely cool in any way. So like rapper doesn't fit.
I like
concept
rapper.
to me.
I like
Yeah.
rapper.
Okay,
From
cool.
here forward.
I like it.
Guys, also on this episode, we're going to talk about the scene that was too insane, that's the quote, to make it into the Joker film. But real weird, we're going to talk about what it probably, definitely, maybe was. Okay,
boy.
but back to The Mandalorian.
Yes.
All right, so the new Star Wars series, The Mandalorian, dropped its first episode on Disney Plus. We watched it in the middle of the night. It is actually great. I think a lot of people are feeling a lot better about Disney Plus in general. But spoiler warning again, if you haven't seen it yet, go watch it, come right back. The episode ends with a big reveal. The Mandalorian has been sent to capture a little baby Yoda. But actually, it's not Yoda, most likely, unless they reincarnate. Do we know Yoda's race?
We don't.
No.
It's one of the
Exactly.
biggest mysteries of
Right.
the
Yes.
Star Wars universe.
Right. It's not even necessarily a Dagobin.
Definitely not. He was not born on Dagobah. He was just in
went to
exile there.
Yeah, exactly. But this is a very rare species. We've seen a few other Yoda-likes.
Yaddle.
Yaddle.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yoda and Yaddle.
But so now
The
we
male
have
and
one
female
more to
version.
add to canon, and it's this one little baby.
Wasn't there a little in the Clone Wars series? Wasn't there
Yeah.
like a little Yoda in that?
So there's been a few.
Yeah.
But we got a new one, and this one is probably the third cutest one.
This one just came out before Christmas, so that everyone can have the plush
Oh
version.
my god!
Yes.
A hairless Furby that's green.
Yes.
Perfect. Make $1 million.
Guys, I looked at it and I heard cha-ching.
So here's what I want to know. What is the deal with this little baby Yoda-like creature? What are they going to do in The Mandalorian? It seems like this might be the thrust of the whole first season.
There are probably more plausible explanations for what this thing is, but mine, I'm just gonna. It's
called Rogue Theory,
It's called
Erik.
Rogue Theory.
Go Rogue Man.
I'm going to counter with what you said, Filup. I'm gonna, just for the sake of this episode, at least say that is Yoda. We are looking at Yoda as a 50-year-old baby using time travel in the future of this
Bringing
universe.
time travel back into Star
Wait,
Wars.
actual Yoda?
Actual Yoda, that baby that is in that weird little pod that the Mandalorian uncovers. We're looking at Yoda as a child
that they brought to the future?
he was born the same year as Anakin Skywalker, but we're looking at a time loop that is in the process of uncoiling. So imagine the scenario that we saw presented in Star Wars Rebels, in which time travel is possible and is canonical in the Star Wars universe. There are portals that go through the world between worlds. Palpatine knows of their existence. That's how we use to explain that theory that Shmi and Rey could be the same person. I don't know if that's true, but I think it is possible that this Yoda is the same, or this creature is the same Yoda that we know, and hundreds of years in the future, the timeline will bend back on itself so that at the beginning of The Phantom Menace and the history of the Star Wars universe as we know so far, we now get this older, wise Yoda who just seems to have this infinite knowledge. He's gained it because he's seen what the future is.
He's a cheater. In a
I
way.
will say, out of all of the Jedi, Yoda was the one who was able to glimpse the future the most. He had that ability, like he was able to kind of see the path.
Thank you, Maude. So Maude agrees with my theory.
100%
What about you,
do
Tablo?
not
This
agree
is a
with you.
competitive
Well,
show.
here's the thing, though.
Do not agree with you though.
If what you're saying is right, wouldn't that make Yoda a fraud, though?
That's what I'm saying,
You know-
right? Yoda's like, I wonder what we should do. Oh, maybe I should let all these young Padawans get murdered. just because that's the order of events.
Well, he wouldn't have known as a baby. You don't have memories from when you're. Well, maybe you do because you're a super baby, full head of hair, full head of teeth. But I don't remember anything from before the age of 14. So I don't think it's fair to assume that Yoda's responsible for the younglings being slaughtered.
I think that's exactly what you're implying. You
That's
said that he
exactly
had
what you
all
said.
knowledge of everything that's happened.
But knowledge of things that are going to be happening.
Like the murder of all the Padawans.
Well, but that happened. Revenge of the Sith. He was maybe the same age as Anakin. So Anakin was late 20s at that point, early 20s. I should know the exact age. So at that point, he's half of the baby that he is now. I don't think this baby currently is going to store any of these memories. But 100 years from now, that thing's going to start having memories of things that revelations that are going to be made about the Force and about history that just inform the very, very wise Stoicism preaching Yoda that Luke met on Dagobah.
What I think is missing for me to even wrap my head around this
Yeah.
is where the turn back point is, right? Because if he's like now this little infant, then you're talking about you haven't mentioned in your theory, but at some point he's going to get essentially him only will be sent back to the beginning, but no one else will.
The cosmic coils of the
Don't turn on his
cosmos are
voice.
hard for
I know
any
you just
human brain
BS
to wrap
voice you
his
use.
mind around. But imagine the universe not as a linear timeline as we currently see it. Now, the easy answer is time portals and Jedi temples as established in Star Wars Rebels. The more interesting answer for me is that all of time, as we know it, is actually a flat circle, and only Yoda is old enough to live long enough to see that circle fold back in on
Well,
itself.
Wookiees live a very long time.
A couple hundred years, not 900 years.
It's like right before they cut off.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
they would come
They
back.
just don't make the cut.
Yeah, and Wookiees are not force sensitive as Yoda is, so they dive into battle. They get hurt. They're used for slave labor as they were in the Kessel mines and building the Death Star. Yoda is just small and nimble enough to stay out of those big fights and to stay active and have a good diet to live that full 900 years.
I actually will say something about that. There are so few of this species, and I was wondering, it's like obviously, biology. Two parents must create the child in a way.
That's not how I was made. I was a super baby.
That's of course. Well,
He was discovered.
That's
not
another.
conceived.
That's a whole
Yeah,
other
yeah,
thing.
yeah.
But I was like, where, like you need at least two of them to procreate, and I'm wondering if that theory is correct. They are just continuing their same lifeline.
Yeah. Here's another wrinkle to it. What
Autogenesis.
if Yaddle is that same one creature who has had a sex transition on the third coil around, and Yaddle is actually 1,800 years old?
Oh, I hate
Now,
this.
when you say third coil, you mean body parts.
I didn't.
I have no idea. We're
They don't have duck penises.
We're getting into the reproductive
Yaddle
nature.
does disappear just miraculously at
Yep.
one point in the prequels.
Yeah.
She just suddenly disappears. So maybe.
Yeah.
Different
Some have
timelines.
said that it's like Order 66 and then she just got killed off. But yeah, her whole story is a bit of a mystery as well.
Yeah, so she probably transitioned to
Or
a
is the
different
same
gender, became the same one.
little green bat-eared creature? There is one. There can only be
Here's
one.
the only thing that Eric's right about on this. The show is called Rogue Theory.
Yes.
And that's a very rogue
In
theory.
the comments, they are screaming at me right now. I'm sure the
Alright.
two of you have what is actually the explanation.
Eric has earned one solid rogie. All right, Tablo, what do you got? What do you think is the right answer? Because Eric's is certainly the craziest.
Well, I like time travel, but that would be like every Disney property is going to be explained by time travel now.
Yep.
Where like Frozen 2 is going to have time travel.
Yeah.
Oh, I
Well,
hope.
that's
right?
out,
Please.
And
Please.
every Pixar movie is going to be time travel, which
Yeah.
which would be ridiculous,
I
right?
love this idea already, and even though you're meaning it as a bad thing,
Let's
you've already
do it.
earned
Let's
one
do it.
rogie.
I've already earned it.
Antithesis gets a
I
rogie.
just imagine Buzz and Woody watching the events of Toy Story 1 in the Back to the Future style. And
They
staying out of
they
their
were
own
there the
way.
whole time.
Yes.
That's actually really good.
Yeah, exactly. I really want to see that.
My theory would be that it's so the Force always has that opposing force. So like good and evil, light and dark. So if you look at the age of Yoda now, the baby Yoda, he's like 50, right?
Yeah.
So if you look back, it's like the same age as when Anakin was born, right?
That's right. Yeah. Yeah. 41 BBY.
So my theory would be that when Anakin was born, somewhere else, like the opposing force,
An equal and opposite.
yeah, but like a virgin birth.
Ooh,
Right.
elsewhere,
I
So
like
right?
as Anakin was
Just
too.
like Anakin.
Right.
Yeah.
Somewhere. I don't know who the mom is.
But they gave birth to another species without having it.
It could be Yaddle.
Should that
Yeah,
had
sure.
Yaddle
Yeah.
had
baby.
virgin birth of this baby, which doesn't make sense with the timeline.
Don't knock yourself
Where
down. Don't
I
knock yourself down.
collab with Eric here.
That's a rap term, Eric.
Yes.
I'm not sure if you're familiar.
I will collab with you, and
like a
that's
YouTube
when
term,
the time thing happens.
Don't bring the time thing in. You were doing so great. Here's what's really great about it. There's a thing that so a lot of people have beef with Rey, right? And it's like, oh man, Rey is overpowered and has never needed all this training. There is one thing that is worth all those people acknowledging. Snoke straight up says about Kylo that Kylo is becoming more and more powerful, and that Snoke theorizes that by there being this level of entity on essentially the dark side of the Force, that the Force is going to calibrate and create a positive entity on the good side of the Force that is as powerful as him.
For the balance.
For the need for
Yes.
balance. So that would explain why she so quickly is able to scale up even past Luke, theoretically. So it's just doing the same thing. If there was a Force as bad as Anakin, and it wouldn't be Luke that balances that, because Luke was born after Anakin. Anakin was good for a while, so that balance isn't timed correctly.
Yes.
But if it is timed with, when Anakin is a bad guy, then his match would have been born at the same time.
I love that.
Very interesting.
Well, that actually eliminates the fact that Anakin ever had a choice to be good. It means his path was chosen for him at birth. And it means that, that whole will he, won't he, no, you were so close to being so good, that's all removed if you apply that theory.
But it does give greater agency to the moment he does make the choice to kill Palpatine. The moment he did finally have his redemption. Like, you're totally right. Up until that point, he was locked in this destined fate.
Yeah.
But that moment to defy his master and save his son, that gives it even more emotional
And
weight.
it might be more like a sine wave and a cosine wave, where they have kind of they constantly are inverting and constantly balancing each
that
other.
means
They're
Baby
not,
Yoda,
not straight.
around that timeline, would have, no, wait.
Yes, no. Let's bring up timelines again.
Well, I do like the idea that theoretically it implies that Yoda goes bad at some point, and that would explain why he murders that kind tree in Last Jedi for no reason. He Thor lightning bolts it.
Yeah.
But no, that I
He's allowed
actually
to
don't
have a
think
bad
that counts.
day.
Yeah. I think your theory doesn't hold up when we look into it too much, so we're quickly going to move on. You got another
Thank you.
another Rogie block.
Thank you.
I do like it though. Maude, what do you got?
All right, so this is The Mandalorian. As we know with Boba Fett, the original, the first Mandalorian, we came across the whole story for that we were exposed to throughout the Clone Wars were that the Mandalorian was the first clone. So all of the stormtroopers and, were based on
Django,
who birthed Boba. And Boba, they all looked exactly the same. So
Virgin birth. Just saying.
Virgin birth. Okay, cool.
Timelines.
Yeah,
So-
it's all come
Balance,
together.
balance.
We understand,
Are we collabing right now with Tablo?
Balance,
It's just
balance.
a word association.
cloning is heavily canon. This is something that we know the technology was there. Someone in the Jedi Academy removed kimono from the archives. I don't know who that is, but this information was available, and who was the only person that came to kimono?
Or Camino.
Camino, sorry.
Camino.
Someone also took kimonos out of those archives.
Yeah, I know. They checked out the kimonos.
That's why they had to wear Jedi robes after that. But the whole thing here is that they are cloning to create an army. I think what the Empire has realized that with Jedi, that is something that they will never have control over. And that is the most powerful thing in the galaxy. So the best way to make an army, of course, is to have the best person for the job, which is a Jedi. And so far we have seen that the most powerful Jedi who's lasted the distance, who can live for 900 years, is Yoda. So there's every chance that they have cloned Yoda to either learn about midichlorians or to learn about the Force or to harness this power, unlimited power, that is in this one kind of small being. And with that is going to be the biggest asset for the Empire. Because you have to understand why the Empire is putting so much money down, credits down, to obtain this child. Why was this facility protected by so many rogue mercenaries, is what I'm guessing. Why, have so many bounty hunters gone there and died? Why are they protecting this thing so much, and why does the Empire want it? And my understanding is, it's the clone so they can experiment on it and learn from it.
I'm going to put a Rogie on the line here. You haven't earned it yet. You did it with your effort. It's great, but this is going to be a wager, okay? Now, this could be seen as exactly the Rey is a clone theory, but you switch out the word Rey for Yoda, essentially. But you can go that way and just say, like, well, too bad. It's that. Or you could say this is the first attempt at trying to clone a Jedi. They try Yoda out. This is what this baby is. That's why it's important that they eliminate this baby. Maybe it's people who are like, don't let them start cloning Jedis. And then their second run at it in 6 years is a little
Rey.
baby named Rey.
I love that.
Okay, great. That's the right answer.
Yay!
Great. You earned that, Rogi.
I just love thousands of baby Yodas. That's what you're saying, right?
like
thousands
temples.
A planet of Yodas.
I will give you mine. I want to see that on screen.
Yeah.
Just so many baby Yodas like flipping around the room or
all over
whatever.
the place.
I mean, it sounds very cute, certainly.
And all of those babies are the same Yoda just looping back on itself in infinite coils.
With balance.
Balance.
I love this. I do like the Pixar short that would eventually be just like, what do you do with 1,000 baby Yodas or something?
It'll
That
look like
claw.
the bottom of a claw machine, right?
Yeah, that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, exactly. It's Toy Story. It's all coming back. It's all
Yeah.
coming back.
Toy Story.
Exactly.
Time travel.
Yeah, that is Yoda in there. All right, guys, give it back to me in a tweet.
There is only one Yoda with infinite timeline loops.
Tablo. That's your tweet. Great. Tablo.
The Force is about balance. If you have Anakin, you must have Baby Yoda.
Yeah.
Sweet. All right, Maude.
The clone zone. No spoilers.
Oh,
No
got it.
spoilers.
Hang on.
I can't spoil on my tweet.
Maude sounded the most like a tweet, so she gets a quarter
Yay!
additional. Rogi, but the rest of them, I'm very impressed with. I actually like any of these. I have a feeling that we're all wrong still.
Definitely.
Very possible.
Yeah, definitely very wrong. But there's another thing I think we're going to guess correctly, our next topic. But before we do that, real quick message from us.
Hey everyone, Eric here, and with Rick and Morty coming back, we can announce a new series called Rick-Splained. It will be our official Rick and Morty after show with special guests from the Rick and Morty staff. You can access it by subscribing to our Rick-Splained podcast feed. And we're calling it Rick-Splained because if it's one thing Rick and Morty fans love, it's explaining to their friends what each episode's really about. If you've ever wondered if Mr. Meeseeks is a metaphor for slavery, or if Pickle Rick is an analogy for painkiller addictions, no, you are not overthinking it. You're just broken the way I am. Because each episode I'm going to dive deep into the black hole of an episode of Rick and Morty, the new season 4 episodes, and leading up to that, standout episodes from seasons 1, 2, and 3 to decode how each is a secret cry for help. And each episode, I'm going to be sitting down with special guests from the show, writers, voice actors, animators, so that they can confirm whether or not my explanation is legit and give us some secrets behind these episodes that we otherwise would never know. So subscribe to Rick Explained wherever you get your podcasts. So of all the Rick and Morty fans you know, you can be the Rickest Rick.
Guys, that was Eric talking to you. He's done now. Thanks, Eric.
No problem.
Guys, there's this insane Joker scene. Supposedly it didn't make the movie. Okay, so Joker director Todd Phillips has said in an interview this week that he had to cut a bathtub scene from the movie or risk it exceeding an R rating. But not for... Well, don't get too excited, Eric.
Too late.
Gross. But not because it was too adult or pornographic or graphic, anything about nudity. It was, this is the Todd Phillips quote, because the scene was, quote, too insane for an R rating.
For that movie?
Too insane for the Joker film too, and an R rating. So pitch me on your rogue theory for what could have possibly been this bathtub scene that was too insane to be in that Joker movie. Oh snap!
Oh, I didn't want it to visually like just pop into my head, but it did.
It just flooded in.
Yeah, I
What
just
is
saw
that?
it like immediately.
I mean, Maude, are you ready? No, I'm kidding. Go. We want to know yours.
Yeah.
So the bathtub only appeared, I think, when Joaquin was like bathing his mom.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't
Right?
like where this is going already.
Okay, well, I'm not gonna stop there, but
Okay, good.
you clearly said that it wasn't anything to do with nudity or anything. So I think maybe there was like a reverse scene where the mom was bathing, Joaquin
Joker,
Phoenix.
yeah, Arthur.
This weird thing where they would take turns bathing each other.
Like forever and ever.
I don't know. I'm not saying
You bathe me.
I'm okay with that, but it just
What? So you're saying you're not okay with the mother and son just
No,
being
I-
kind to each other?
it could be beautiful, but it's pretty insane, right? Like
It is insane and not pornographic.
Not pornographic.
The most
But
insane
insane.
part is that it sounds like it's just like, I'm done, now you go. I'm done, now you go.
Yeah,
Just
and
like
it's
this
just-
constant scrubbing until they're bleeding.
Until they're down to skeletons.
Yeah, like for like 40 minutes, and then they had to just cut it out because of the length.
It was just for time. That's the only
So
reason
it
they
was
cut
insane. Is that like people would be like, "What is wrong with it? Is the movie broken? Like, why is it
Yeah.
repeating this cycle?" Yeah, I'll
I
buy
love
that.
it.
That's a pretty insane theory, and also unsettling.
Yes.
Cool. What else we got?
Okay, so for it to be excessive of an R rating, there does have to be nudity involved.
You're saying dong.
He said, he did say not pornographic, but if it exceeds R rating, by definition
Yeah, it
of the
has to
MPAA standards,
You know it when you see it.
it's. I think there was some. I
Grayson?
just think the was not alert, and that's why. But I think really what was
Alert?
happening.
Insane. A flaccid
What do you want me to
penis.
say? Erect? Yeah.
Well, alert.
can't say
Like
erect.
mine is aware of where it is right now, but it's not like ready to go.
Well, maybe you should consult a physician because
I mean, how
You think I
mine's
should
ready
be?
to go constantly.
That's not what we should
I'm not
be.
seeing a
We're
doctor.
at
You
work
see a
right
doctor.
now.
Eric's collabing with me again because
I'm collabing.
obviously if
Be
they were
careful.
bathing,
Yeah.
if they were taking turns bathing each other,
You would
there's gotta
see
be some.
It's
At least one flaccid.
There's gotta be like a bathtub exit scene where like he gets up. Right?
And
Or
that's
no,
my
they just
theory.
floats at the top of the
My
water.
theory is that he reenacts the bathtub scene from The Shining, and he is
the
the
sexy
room
lady.
237 woman.
goodness.
But he gets up and he starts dancing with Todd Phillips as Jack Torrance, and then he's like, "Ah," and then and he's like, "My falling off
Yeah, that's
because
really
I'm a corpse." Credits,
That's really disturbing.
and that's why I didn't make it in.
You mean-
Insane, but not pornographic.
Eric, I'm gonna make you
I have a brick?
I'm gonna make you. You can't have a break. I'm gonna make you say this one again in a tweet right now,
Mm-hmm.
just to like focus this down into what kind of gross you're describing.
Yeah. Did you know that Todd Phillips deleted a scene from The Joker that involved Joaquin Phoenix reenacting The Shining, but as an old corpse man?
Okay, cool,
Okay.
great. Clickbaity enough for me. Okay, I just wanted to make sure that it's not just the appearance of anymore. Now it is straight up. He's just like
so
rotting
much
corpse.
more than.
Okay, gotcha. All right, insane. Maude, what do you have?
Well, I don't really want to have images pop into my head.
Liar.
But no, I really. Joaquin lost a lot of weight for that role, and he looks almost like distorted as a person, and his
Yeah.
body's just not right. So my thing and my rogue theory, so I don't talk about flaccid and bathing and nude mums looking at awful. But
Beautiful.
We got
is
so
sweet.
demonetized on this video.
yeah, oh god. So I'm just gonna go and think outside the box here and use the fact that his body looks all distorted, and because it's actually not human inside. So while he's in the bathtub and he's bathing, the reason why it's surpassing the R rating is because his skin starts splitting and opening off of his body because he's actually a xenomorph.
I'm in.
So he's an alien.
Yeah.
He has a chest burster
That
come out.
became
Too much
very
of a
insane.
spoiler.
But Maude, I'm gonna put one on the line
Yay!
for you. No, but wait,
Oh,
wait.
okay.
All of Mods are wagers.
Xenophobe.
What if though? Just take your Rogie. It's fine.
Thank
I'll
you.
just add on to this. What if though it is that he like peeled his face off
Ugh.
and then he kind of like he gets up in the mirror or something and he sticks it back on in that famous
The
Joker
Joker Stitch.
interpretation, the Stitch
Oh,
Joker,
yeah.
like where it's like basically
Okay.
this like stuck on
And he
loose
did
face.
this.
Yeah.
And he just kept pulling.
Yeah, podcast listeners,
it's-
Maude just pulled her bottom lip over her entire head.
You missed
It's
it.
like Buffalo Bill in Silence of the Lambs, and he tucks
He's
it
like
in
wearing
and
his
does
dong.
the
Yeah.
good
So,
horses.
no, the
Yeah.
dong isn't part of it, Eric.
Well, it's not there because it's tucked in between.
But it's like it's that famous Joker look, except it's also a fantasy sequence. So it's like so insane and crazy, but it's just another one of his fantasies.
There
That
it
could be cool.
is.
Yeah,
That would have been a very cool like Easter egg though.
yeah.
Yeah, that reference.
Why
Yeah,
would
yeah.
they cut that out though? Because it's too disgusting.
Too insane.
What?
Insane.
Yeah.
But
Not enough.
All right.
Ned.
Never enough for Eric.
I will never look at a Ned the same.
Not
Hi,
enough
Ned.
to-
Not enough.
Every guy named Ned. Hates
Sorry,
us.
Ned's in the comments.
Yeah. All right, guys. So Eric's was the room 237, decrepit old Wang. And then Tablo, remind us of yours?
As a tweet?
Sure. Yeah.
Oh, so Arthur Fleck loves his mom, bathes her, and mom returns the favor.
Yours sounds very sweet.
Yours
when
is
you say it this
appropriate.
way.
Yours
Yeah,
is the best.
mom
Yeah.
returns
Our-
the favor.
Our
As a-
bar for weird has
as a
gotten so
family.
like lost that now sounds like, oh, that's sweet.
Yeah.
It's sweet, yeah.
That's yeah.
And then Maude.
Arthur Fleck becomes Arthur Flesh.
Ew. Slash xenomorph.
Yeah.
yeah.
I
Cool.
love it.
I'll give both of you guys also another one because
Okay.
I do like these. But if you remember correctly, you guys all wrote wishes at the beginning of the episode. Whoever's going to end up with the most highest total of rogues is going to get their wish to come true in this episode. But the game's not over yet because we still have rogue questions to go through. Yeah.
What?
Questions that
This
I have not
never
seen.
happens.
You guys haven't seen.
Oh, you
Totally
hit the end of your
unexpected.
timeline.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. Yeah, I haven't
right.
lived through the timeline yet.
You guys ready? All right. It came out this week that Robert Downey Jr.'s pitch for Tony Stark's final line in Endgame was, "Oh snap." Pitch me an even worse final line for Iron Man.
I'm gonna die.
It's pretty bad. It's pretty bad. What else you guys got?
I am gonna subscribe to Disney Plus.
He winks at the camera.
Terrible.
He makes $2 on every monthly.
Disney Plus.
This is the charred version of Tony Stark.
I was the salt to her pepper.
I hate it.
Thank you.
That was the
Maude,
Well, oh snap was going to be a
Maude
pun.
wins that one.
that's pretty-
Guys,
pretty bad.
and then Mandalorian actors is the last question. Werner Herzog said in an interview that he's never seen a Star Wars movie. What? But of course, he does watch WrestleMania.
He said
Yeah.
that?
Nothing wrong with
He
that.
said that, and it was terrifying
I thought
because
he
it's
said
in his voice.
he'd never seen another John Favreau film.
I'm sure that's also true. He only watches WrestleMania.
That's so boss.
So let's hear your best wrestling style smack talk in your best Werner Herzog voice.
What?
I don't even know how to do his voice.
Everything he says sounds like a threat.
Yeah.
That's
And that is the bottom line because Stone Cold said so.
Yeah, not bad. Yeah.
I forfeit right away.
That's fine.
Dude, that was pretty damn good.
Can you smell? Can you smell? Can you smell what the Rock is cooking?
And she threw in some Snape.
That was Voldemort.
That was Voldemort,
That was
yeah.
There was
Voldemort.
Voldemort and Snape, but they were all
Oh
in
man,
there.
I was just like evil then.
I'm feeling that mod. You get a block for all the characters, but for accuracy, I'm gonna whip out a silver block for Eric. Bringing it up. Silver blocks are worth. It's an insane number.
Is this a
It's-
Beskar Rogi, the Mandalorian
Yes,
medal?
exactly.
Yeah.
You can melt it down. It's the equivalent of get ready, 2 Rogies.
Not enough.
Not enough to win this episode. I tried, but all right, guys. So the winner of this one is going to be. What are your point totals?
4 Rogies.
3. And I'm
4.5.
4 1/4.
Quarter.
4 1/4. So Mog's gonna take it real quick. Tablo, sorry, your wish will never come true. I'm sorry for those children. Eric, we'll do this a different time. You say this a lot. And then Maud's wish.
Is it a
Oh
raise?
God, dang! I was hoping this one wouldn't win.
Yeah.
This video has to feature in the title the Mandalorian, but spelled with mod in the name as a pun, because that will help our SEO. Thanks, Mod. That's it for this episode of Rogue Theory. Thanks for going rogue with us. Thanks so much to our guests, Erik Voss,
Hey.
Maude Garrett. Where can we find you? What are you up to right now?
Oh yeah, look at Maude Garrett on all things, and I've got a bunch of celebrity interviews for all the junkets happening in December coming out too, including Charlie's Angels, and I interviewed Robert De Niro. So
yeah.
I call him Bobby De Niro now because we're friends.
I love De Niro's new film, and it's got Pacino and DeVito and DiGiorno, and all of them are in it. I'm so excited
Not
about
part of the
it.
delicious.
MCU.
And Tablo, what are you working on right now?
I'm working on music with a group called Epic High, which is my group. It's amazing, so check it out. And also, I have a podcast podcast called the Tablo Podcast, where we just talk nonsense. Everything is a rogue theory, so check that
Oh,
out.
sweet.
That's fantastic. Check this guy's music out. It's very, very, very good, and we're lucky to have him. Thank you so much
been
Todd,
awesome.
for being
Thank you
here.
for having
cool.
me.
You've been
Thank
so
you,
great.
man.
Guys, don't forget to subscribe to the Rogue Theory podcast feed. It comes out earlier than the video version. So stay tuned to the YouTube channel for a bunch of cool stuff we have coming out. We'll talk about it later somewhere else, not in this episode. Follow us on at New Rockstars on Twitter, and follow me at Filup Molina wherever you want to. Follow me in real life. It's fine. Have a good one, guys.
Bye.